Do you want to go ahead and start kicking things off?
Yes, absolutely. Welcome everyone. This is such an amazing turnout. I am so excited for today. Thank you, Courtney, for having me. Just wanted to quickly introduce myself. I'm Amanda Rango. I'm the founder and creative director at ARD Fashion Consulting. And I have had my business for the last 3 years, a little bit of like a background. I was in, corporate retail for 20 years. I'm kind of mostly a kids wear designer. So I worked for Limited Too, Justice for a very long time, moved to New York for a short time, worked for a label called Genuine Kids, which was exclusive to Target, and found my way back to Ohio. Finished out my corporate career with Justice. And now for 3 years, I've been on my own and doing fashion consulting and have really kind of narrowed down my niche. So I support founders, so those that are, creating startups, and I do end-to-end product development for them. And then my other niche client is really, somebody who founded and has kind of been figuring it out, and they're, year 5 to 15, and they're looking to really scale their business. So I can come in and help to essentially just evaluate, their processes, how they're doing things. And believe it or not, out of 9 clients that I have right now, none of the founders have any experience in the fashion industry. So a huge part of my business that I'm really passionate about is the education piece. So just being able to utilize and maximize, my 23 years in the industry and just share that information with people who, might be struggling with the smallest thing. And then it's like a huge light bulb, it's tiny things like people don't even know what a fit form is or a strike off or a lab dip. So just really excited to, be growing my business and finding my ideal target clients. And with that comes my relationship with freelancers. And so essentially the way that I run my business, it's kind of more of an agency model. So there's, my business and my subcontractors that essentially support me when I get scope of work from a client. I have anywhere from, sketch artists to designers. I have print designers, graphic designers. I even have specific graphic designers. So apparel graphic designers. I have someone that does just specifically labels, hang tags, packaging, things of that nature. I even have somebody who builds Shopify sites because a lot of these people are founding their businesses. And even though I can deliver their product, they have no idea how to bring it to market. So I'm able to provide that as a service. And I think it was one of the questions that was fielded to Courtney that I thought I could just kind of answer right now, which is how I got started. And honestly, you all are in this industry, so you know how much of a roller coaster it can be. So after 20 years in corporate and kind of going through the experience of the fashion world during the pandemic, I was with Justice. The company was sold and I decided to step away. I took a little sabbatical. I actually have 3 kids. I have 3 girls, 10, 8, and 5. So my world is total chaos, but I love it so much. And in the midst of that, I just kind of thought there's got to be something better than what I've been experiencing in order to be, just a little bit closer and more engaged with my kids. And I feel like the pandemic really kind of showed me that that was possible. And that's kind of how I got started and really just started freelancing. Landed a fairly large client kind of off the bat and ended up hiring kind of like a satellite design team here in Ohio for a company in New York. And so I had, tech designers, 2 designers, print and pattern graphics. So I just went from 0 to 60 and started running like a team of 6 or 7 people. So that's really how I got started. I always say it was very organic. I did not I didn't even have an LLC until I landed this client. And then I was like, I should probably be official about this. So I've learned a lot in the last 3 years. I've worked for companies like that, which were a bigger corporate experience, and realized that's why I kind of stepped away. So that's why I've really niched down my clients to these fashion founders. So people who really value, the experience and the skill set that I bring. And honestly, it's things that perhaps, this whole group of people have been doing and come very second nature. But if you find the right client, they will be just over the moon excited to learn and to, just soak up all of your knowledge. So that's a little bit about me and how I got started. I think what we're going to do is, what we're kind of here for, which is Teckpacker. So just a quick intro to Teckpacker. When I started with that first big client, and because I came from a corporate background, I kind of didn't realize how important the Teckpack systems were that I had access to in the corporate world. And so when I started working with this client, they were doing 50 to 75 SKUs a season. And I was like, okay, how are you doing your tech packs? And they said, well, we're doing, the tech packs are in Illustrator and the specs are in Excel. And I'm like, you're doing 75 SKUs and you work with 8 different manufacturers, and this is how you're running the business. So, just because I had already worked in, Web PDM and Bamboo Rose, I said, there's no way that I can do this. So I basically researched and sourced my own Teckpack system, and that's really how I found Teckpacker. So even though I contract for them, I do demos, I do onboarding, I was really a client first. So I purchased their software for my team. I think I have 5 memberships, or 5 users, so that anybody who freelances for me, can use the software to complete scope of work. And I really fell in love with the software. In a nutshell, I would say the best 2 things are it's very intuitive. So if you've ever created a tech pack or worked in a PLM system, you can probably go into this program and for the most part, figure it out. And then the second thing is you can actually do a lot of customization. So I remember in corporate, that being a big struggle. Usually the IT team or the sourcing team were the ones who did the purchasing of the actual software products. And maybe it didn't work, for merchants, or it didn't work for the design team. So it was like you had to put in for all these upgrades and enhancements, and it really kind of put up barriers. And I think Teckpacker, honestly, for any size company, works so well, but they also market to, the freelancers of the world. They have, an essential package, which, is just kind of like the basics of tech packs. It really helps you, put your information in and have an industry standard tech pack. And then we go up, there's like 3 different models of the type of memberships, which I'll show you kind of at the end of the demo. But I just love what they're doing. They have a phenomenal customer service team. They're just beautiful people to work with, and they're very human centric. So, they genuinely want to help if you can't figure something out, or if we get multiple comments, about something that's not working or that something could be improved. They're very open-minded to, considering how to improve the experience for the guests. So, so does anybody have any questions before I start to share my screen and pop into the demo? Awesome. Okay. So,
I just want to ask everyone, if you do have a question as she goes along, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, hold until the end of the demo, and then we'll do a short Q&A after that for Teckpacker specifically.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Does everybody see? It looks kind of like a dashboard. Awesome. Okay, so when you go into Teckpacker, this is essentially what you'll see when you log into the system, and it is a cloud-based system. So you really just need a browser to get in. I love this because it's really built for remote working. So, if you're in a different country, a different state, it's just perfect for that. Essentially, this is what we call as the dashboard. And I have already created what we call folders. And it just essentially is a way to organize your tech packs. So most of my clients, they either organize their folders by season or by categories. But because I'm a contractor, I actually organize my folders by clients. So, if you're a freelancer that works with multiple clients, this is probably a similar way that you would want to, organize your tech packs and really just house them per client. All of our memberships come with this personal tech packs. And essentially, this is just, 20 plus tech packs that our team has created. And they've been actually approached in all different ways. So it's an opportunity for you to see how tech packs can be built within our system in order to just kind of absorb that information and, just see the different ways visually that things can be input into the tech packs. So that's always just a wonderful resource. I'm going to actually hop into a folder. So when you go into a folder, there's actually 3 different ways that you can view the tech packs that you've created or that you're creating. So this is the first way. In this top right-hand corner is essentially how you can view your tech pack. So this is more or less just like a visual thing. I'm in view list right now. So it has, little thumbnails to the side, a description, grid view. A lot of designers prefer grid view. It's just a better visual of that sketch on the first cover page. And then we also have stages view. So I will say, this is included in the second of the 3 memberships. So, just keep that in mind as I'm kind of going through. I'll mention which of these features are included because in our basic membership, this is not included, but I did want everybody to see what the system is capable for in case you're looking for this type of software and if this would meet your needs or a client's needs, to be honest. So essentially stages it's your product development life cycle. So for me as a contractor, I mostly work in apparel, some kids, men's, women's. So I kind of set up what I would call a general overarching like default product development cycle. So, if I'm working on, building tech packs, whether it's me or an assistant, kind of building some of those design pages, and perhaps the tech designer is also building the spec. We're really just putting that together. Once I've actually sent it out to the manufacturer or to the client, I put it into initial tech pack stage. So that's kind of my way to kind of move it through that product development process to track all of that. And these are all customizable. So I created these myself, depending on the client and their needs. These may be fewer. These may be, 2-3 times more, depending on, each milestone in your process and what you want to keep track of. So on and so forth. There's some art reviews, fits, all kinds of great things that you can document. The other thing I'll mention is you can actually, select one or all of these. And we have a function where you can actually set plan and start dates. So for each of these, product development milestones, you can plan dates to this. And there's actually a reporting system that will kick out, the tracking of all of these planned dates. So this is really where I will say Teckpacker is not a full-fledged PLM system yet. I would say it's more of a tech pack system with a couple of added features that sort of lean towards that PLM experience. I would say this is one of those features. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just pop into
I'm
a,
gonna interrupt you for 1 second, sorry, Amanda.
yeah, go
Just
right
for
ahead.
anyone who doesn't know what PLM means, that's product lifecycle management in most cases. There's slight variations, but in corporate speak, PLM, that's what that means.
Thank you, Courtney. Sorry, if I say anything that's just like what I talk about every day, all day, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to pop into a Teckpack. So with the Essentials membership, which is our most basic membership, it includes these top 3 sections, which, you know, if you're a freelancer, it might actually be all that you need to do what you need to do for your clients. So sketches, materials, and measurements. In our mind, those are the 3 non-negotiables that you cannot live without to create a Teckpack and to communicate clearly with your manufacturer. So I'm just going to kind of go through those couple of sections, and then I'll also show you some additional features that are available in some of the other memberships. So for sketches, this would be where you would include, you know, any of your technical sketches, if you create CADs, things of that nature. These are actually what we call cards. So this is what you would utilize for any images or, you know, files, things of that nature. I'm going to hop into this sketch here. So one of the best features in my mind that I love about this system. So this black and white sketch, I did it in Illustrator. I actually imported it in. We have a plugin. You can just import it directly from AI. And then you can actually begin adding your what we call image and annotations. So it's really a way to write in all of your sketch details. So whether that's, you know, stitch details, if you want to include measurements, if you want to reference anything, shoring ratio, details, it's just a very quick way to communicate all of that direction on top of your sketch. That can also be done. You know, this is just kind of like my inspo image. And I just said, you know, this is for this flutter sleeve inspiration. You can attach mini bodies or CADs. You can give, you know, if you want to give art numbers or anything of that nature. So this is really just for as much information as you can share with the manufacturer. The other thing that I want to just show quickly, so each card has quite a few features. I'll go over just a few of them quickly. So the image and annotations, files and comments, I find is just an amazing way to house more information. So for example, if you were working on this gingham and you actually wanted to attach a CAD file to this, you could just do an attachment here. This is how you can, you know, bring files into a Teckpack, and it can become, you know, accessible to anyone that you're sending to. It'll actually attach to the end of the Teckpack. They have 7 days to download it, and they can just keep it for themselves. The reason that we have that 7-day period is really just to protect our clients, to make sure that anyone that they're sharing their Teckpacks with, they don't have full unlimited access to any of their files. So it is kind of a limited release when you add those. The other feature here is a files and comments feature. So this is actually better if you're working on a team. So for me, this is a huge benefit. I have my tech designers on here. I have my sketch artists in here bringing in sketches. So this is a great place where you can either leave internal comments for yourself, or there's like a little shift at mention, and I can tag people on my team and say, hey, you know, we updated the flutter, like shoring ratio, and literally I can add the comment. It will go directly to that person, and you'll actually see it come up. This little bell is an indication of your messages. And so it kind of becomes like an internal communication system for all the stakeholders on the team. So for anybody who has, you know, 2+ members on their team, I always recommend this. It's a wonderful replacement for email communication, which typically you're searching 30, 50, 100 emails to find where you had that comment because you know you told them to do that. So this is just a great way to streamline information directly into the Teckpack. And then the last feature here, status and dates. I would say this is most helpful. I might demo this in materials, but it's essentially a way to record if you want to approve, reject, or resubmit any submissions. So any questions and sketches before I move down to materials?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So if you make a comment in one of these, does it get sent as an email to the other person? It's like, from Teckpacker, you have a new comment. And is that how that gets alerted to them?
So it goes to this notifications. So when you come into your Teckpacker, which, you know, most people that are working in a Teckpack system, they're probably in it about every day. So when you come to your dashboard, this will actually have like a red number on it that indicates how many messages you have. And then you you click the bell, it has like a little drop down and it'll tell you your messages, who it's from, and what they're communicating. Uh-oh, we may have lost her.
Yeah, I think she froze.
Okay.
I also
Well,
have a question.
Yeah, go right ahead, Marco.
Sorry, is it better if I put my hands up with reactions instead of just blurting? Okay, I just want to
No,
make
go
sure.
for it.
Totally fine.
Okay, when you open these images, like you showed like a preview of it, when you open it or the individual opens it, does it go just to like the JPEG or the PNG or is it the AI file?
So in the actual package, they'll just see it as like in a PDF file, but you can bring it from AI, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So they won't have like anybody you send this to, they won't have access to your files. It'll just be like a photo of that file with all of your annotations and your details on top.
Perfect. Because I always think about like if you send an AI file to someone, then if you have like folders or saved things, they have, like you just said, have access to that. All these things you worked on, they all have access to. So that's nice. Okay.
Yep, it's really just kind of like a snapshot. It's just showing the image because when you actually share the file with them, it's just like a view only file. So they would not have access unless you give it to them, which would be in that files and comments. If you attach a file, then they have access to that file. So there's kind of, a couple of ways that you can approach it to make sure that it's kind of the process is curated for you and your privacy and your protection.
Got it. Beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to jump down to materials. So the good old BOM, bill of materials, essentially the way that Teckpacker is set up, we put all materials in one section. And if you're used to segregating your materials by fabric and by trims and by like labels and hang tags, by all means, you can create the separation. I've just gotten used to throwing it all in, but keeping somewhat of a process of what I put in first so that I'm consistent with my manufacturers. There's two ways that you can enter your materials. So the first way is just manually. So you add a material at the bottom, it'll drop like a new line item. You can enter in, maybe it's a jersey. And you can just go across, add all your information. If you have a photograph or if you have an approval swatch, you can add that into your card. From there, you can actually save that information into a library. So the library is a feature of what we call professional. So within our three memberships, it is the top two tiers. So I will just preface that. So materials can be entered and then saved to a library, or you can create your library and then drag and drop into your materials. So I'll actually demo that quickly. So I have a pretty robust library because I create libraries for all of my clients. And so you can actually access this directly from inside of a Teckpack. And you can see if you click the drop down, it'll actually show all your types of libraries. So I have, you know, fabrics, labels, excuse me, labels and hang tags, trims. You can even save libraries for your grading worksheets or, you know, block measurements, things of that nature. So I'm going to just select my fabric library, and it's going to actually give almost like a smaller view of it over here to the right-hand side so that you can still view your BOM, but you're also viewing from within your library. And honestly, you can add as many of these as you want at once. So let's say I have, you know, 3 different fabrics that I want to add into this tech pack. I literally click on them, click and drag, and I just drop it in with wherever, you know, it's best suited. And that kind of brings me to another, okay, so now they've all dropped in. If you want to rearrange anything, you literally just click on these 2 lines on the left and you can rearrange. So just very, like I said, intuitive, user-friendly is just like the MO for this system. So that's essentially how our materials section works. And I would, you know, for anyone who is well-versed in a tech pack, you can just, you know, nod off for a second, but anybody who is maybe in the earlier stages, I would always include every single feature on your garments. So that's anything from fabrics to trims to stitches, labels, hang tags, depending on your client, that might include tracking labels, fire labels if you're working with children's sleepwear. I've even had clients that do hangers, you know, poly bags. So just try and go through your list and make sure you've got everything on there. And that's pretty much all of materials. Are there any questions on materials? Oh, you know what I forgot to show is over here. And let me actually clean this up. So one of the best features, again, is the customization. Right now I'm actually editing my columns because I have demoed so many things that like these columns are whack and crazy. So I'm going to just clean it up real quick. And I'm going to let this re-render. Okay. So now that it's a little more cleaned up, what I wanted to show you is over here. So I wanted to just quickly touch on how to identify colorways. So if you go in to control your column, so again, another amazing customizable feature, these columns up here, that's something that you actually set up. So when you go through your default settings and you're setting your system up, you actually determine what you want to do there. So if you're an apparel freelance designer, you can set up, you know, materials, content, weight, things of that nature. If you're doing shoe design, you might want to set that up a little bit differently. So it really just depends on, you know, your product category and what works best for you. And then over here to the side is typically where I do all of the color columns. So you'll see, oh,
Guys, can you mute if you're
Ya.
able to?
let me see if I can find who it is.
¿Y cuándo te tiene que hacer la biopsia?
Pues máximo, me ha dicho que máximo 2 meses.
Joder, 2 meses.
I
Oh,
feel like we're being like hacked into or something.
I know.
Ya.
So weird.
Y luego diré, mira si puedes ver una retorno.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, I'm wondering if I can mute everybody. Hold on, let me.
No,
try.
ya. Pero no te ha dicho nada más, solo es sospechoso. O sea, bueno, el tag que ha salido. O sea. Uy.
Oh, it's, sorry, I'm gonna just mute this person if I can figure it out. There we go. Okay, found it.
Yay.
Okay, sorry. Let me get back to where I was. Okay, I was talking about color columns. So essentially when you want to put in color columns, so identifying, you know, each of your bill of materials. So you go to this column manager and it's really just a little indicator here. So this little color palette will If you click off of it, it identifies that that's an actual color column. So it highlights it so that your manufacturers know which colors that you want to have sampled. So this is typically where I do all of my color. Okay, so now any questions and materials before I move on to measurements?
I have one comment. You mentioned a few moments ago just about making sure that you include everything in your BOM,
Yep.
all parts of your garment. So I just wanted to give some advice to people, especially newbies. Something that I started doing early in my career is just start at the very top of the garment and work your way down. That way you don't miss anything.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Crystal, you raised your hand. Did you get your question answered? You can
I did. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool.
Awesome.
And then Suzanne in the comments, your question was about colorways. So if you still have questions around that, feel free to chime in. Okay, I think we're good.
Awesome. Okay, so I don't know, does anybody utilize measurements? I don't know, like the scope of everyone's freelance work. Yes. Okay. So I'll go over this. So this is the measurement section and, kind of a typical POM, points of measurement. We have what we call card title. So that's really just description. Tolerances. So it actually makes you put in tolerances. Believe it or not, I have clients that will send me measurement charts that don't even have a tolerance. So you have to put in a tolerance for every palm, and then this is another part of, what you can set up in your default settings is your size ranges. So if you work with one size range, great. If you work with multiples, you can actually preset those in your default settings so that you just kind of pick from a size run every time you set up a Teckpack. So it makes it very easy. And then you also want to always choose your sample size. So that's why my large size 10 is actually highlighted, is that's pretty much just indicating the sample size that I want to sample in. A couple of things here. Whoops, where did that go? Please go back. Thank you. So the cards in the measurement section can easily be used for a how to measure guide. So there's kind of two options here. Some folks like to use almost like a detailed shot of their sketches for each of the how to measures. But I would say I find mostly I have clients who will create one how to measure guide. It's just a little bit quicker. And then I will say there are a few little shortcuts that just help with efficiency. So, this is the same as what we were working on with the sketches above, but now you're just using the same visual technical sketch to add the how to measure. One great feature is as you're adding these, you can actually use the shift hashtag function, and it'll pull up all of the existing cards that are already within your Teckpack. So if you actually add all of your points of measurement, and then you add your sketch and your how to measure guide, you can quickly go through here and literally jam through these, just choose from a list, and everything is in the same language, the same description, that it looks like down in your measurement section. So just a great little shortcut tip there. For measurements. And then there is the ability to, if you know your grade and you put in your sample size, it will generate across your sizes. And then we also have a feature called the grading mode. So let's just say, for example, I have fit my sample size, my size 10, and maybe in my fit, I evaluated the center back length. So I'm going to actually change that measurement, but I'm going to go into my grading mode so that it's automated. So if my size 10, I take from a 32 to a 31, you'll see it actually updates all across that row automatically if you're in that grading mode. You can also do the same feature, but in grading mode. So it'll flip from measurements to grading. And if you want to adjust your grade, so instead of, increments of 1, you want to do 1/2 inch increments. All those changes can be made in grading mode so that it's automated across the row, and it only has to be done in that sample size. The other feature here that I'll just mention, because my guess is that if you work with measurements and specs, it's highly likely that you're working in Excel currently. There is a feature to import from Excel. So if you actually start with a blank measurement sheet and you have an existing spec or existing graded measurements, you can actually import that directly into our system. So a wonderful feature there. And that's really for anything. That's not just for measurements. That's also for materials, fabrics, trims. If you have an Excel sheet, you can import a CSV into the system, into your library, into a Teckpack. So a lot of flexibility there if you have existing information in Excel. Okay, those are the 3 main sections. That is what exists in the Essentials package. I will quickly touch on, we have a lot of custom sections down here. And these I've created. We have a lot of templates, and then some I've just created from scratch. So depending on your needs and who you're, designing for and who you're freelancing for, what I like to say is it really depends on your business model and the type of product. But for example, if you're, designing a graphic tee and you're using the same body over and over, and perhaps you're just giving them, prints or graphics, but you're creating their tech packs, you can actually build a template for your graphic tee and start from, the most completed possible version, and then just add objective information like colors, graphics, prints, those kind of things. So it's really great for that. I'll just quickly touch, I don't know if anybody does fit process, but I love this tool because I am not a tech designer, but if I need to be, I can be. However, I do have a tech team that works in this system and luckily handles this part of the process, but it is very user-friendly. When you create a fit evaluation page, you actually name it. So you can give it a title. I am very detail oriented. So I like to indicate which fit it is, the date, who was there, and if it's approved or rejected. It will actually auto pull all your measurements, tolerances, and then your sample target measurements down into this chart. And then in the fit column is where you enter. Once you've received your prototype, you enter your measurements. And I don't know why, I think this is not calculating because I have been in this so many times and kind of messed up the formulas. But essentially it will calculate when you're over or under your target measurement. And then this red highlight comes up if you're out of your tolerance. So a wonderful automated way to check measurements. It'll allow you to add comments. If you want to revise a measurement, you can put it under the new column. And then my favorite feature is utilizing our card feature to really communicate those visual fit comments. So doing a front back side, whether it's on a live model or a fit form, and really just calling out all of those or all of those fit comments to the manufacturer or to the client. And you can add as many cards as you need. For example, like this one has a size set, so it's including the full size set. There was also like a major construction issue. So this is something you could take, just a more detailed photo and add your comments. So an awesome feature for fit comments. Crystal, do you have a question?
Yes, very quickly. That cool hashtag feature that you just showed us, does that work like in materials and in sketches too, or is that only in, oh, wow, good to know.
Yep. So you can hashtag and it'll bring up any card that exists in your Teckpack. So that will work anywhere within each Teckpack. Yeah, it's a great shortcut. Yeah, major efficiency.
We have 2 questions in the chat too, really quick, Amanda.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Regarding the POM portion,
Yep.
Is it possible to change between inches and centimeters?
Yes. So you can change between both inches and centimeters, and you can also choose between decimals and fractions. So either way.
And then are the POMs built in, or can you create a library with POM so you can pull them from previous styles? I think you
Yep.
kind of answered that earlier, but
Yeah, so there's kind of two ways. So you can build your POMs in your library, and then you can use them the same way I was showing you to drag in fabrics. You could just drag in all your palms. So if you start a library of all of your palms, you can drag those in. The other way is you can copy from any tech pack. So if you've created it in a different tech pack and those are the palms you need, but you just want to like redo the measurements, you could always copy them over and then revise all the measurements themselves. So there's multiple ways. I always communicate, once you put your information into our system somewhere, you're able to either save it, document it, copy it. So that's really the name of the game, is building efficiencies. And you should not the days of when I had to work in Illustrator and just like copy and paste and like making sure I updated everything properly. And you can also in both the professional and the premium membership. So you can use a feature called Connect Cards. So for example, if you have a fabric that lives in, 5 different tech packs, you can actually connect those. So if you need to update that fabric, it updates in all 5 packages. Same with trims. I find that that's very useful for labels, hang tags. If there's an update made and you don't want to do it in all of those tech packs, you can use that connect card feature. That's also really good for spec measurements. So if you have multiple leggings that are using the same specs, but perhaps they're just different colors or different prints, you can connect those points of measurement so that if you make an update in one, it updates in all of them.
there's one more question in the chat.
Okay.
In your POM library, does it give you a default grade rule from things like shoulder length, from size to size, or does that come from your own customization?
It comes from your own customization. So there's really no way to default a grade because so many people work with different grades and so many people work in different categories. So the only thing I can say about that is if you're working in one category, once you have your grade set, it's more automated, but you will have to go in and basically program in what your grade rules are. A lot of my tech designers will actually build grade rules in the library and just bring in the palms with the grade rule so that they can enter the measurements, but the grade is already fixed. So there's a lot of ways that you can just set yourself up for some automation and efficiency. All right, any other questions? Good, awesome. Okay. Let's see, where was I? I'm going to quickly show, I don't know if anybody deals with costing, but we do have that capability. Again, it auto pulls information. So if you create a costing chart, it'll pull all of your bill of materials. You can fill out a consumption. So whether that's, yardage for fabrics or, one for a hang tag or a label, and then you put in the unit, cost per unit, it will, calculate all the way down to like a landed cost or an FOB cost. You can even, calculate in cut and make or anything of that nature. So wonderful costing section. We do have a quantity breakdown. So again, this pulls from the number of color combos that you have along with your entire size grade. And you can just go in and, pardon me, enter your units per size, per colorway, and it'll give you your total units. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything can be created here. So any of your needs can essentially be met, whether it's, in a, kind of like a template or complete custom section. Okay, I think we're good there. the last thing I want to show everybody is once you've completed a tech pack, how do you send it to a client or a manufacturer? So that's going to be up here in the right-hand corner, what we call is doc view. And again, our system is just insanely customizable. So what this does is it'll render a live PDF on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side is kind of another navigation tool. So it really allows you to change the way in which you're viewing your PDF before you're ready to send it out to your manufacturer or your client. So it starts with that cover page, has like a little page index, says, you know, how many versions you've created here. Starts with your sketches, all your sketches. So everything is viewed by the order in which you've entered it. If you want to see things a little bit differently, so for example, on this page, I've got, you know, 2 cards to 1 page. I can actually go into sketches and I can go to this mini bodies. And you can actually alter if you want to see 6 cards, 2 cards, or 1 card to a page. So it really just depends on the card, the type of information you want to communicate, and how you want it to look. So this kind of takes it, this is on 2, this went to 1. So you can kind of, you know, curate your PDF however you want it to look. This is actually all of our materials. So for example, like if you don't want to show like 100 swatches, you can literally just click off of that. Okay, my system is going whack because I'm on Zoom. But essentially you can click off of all of the cards and they'll just disappear from your PDF. It'll probably save you about 7 pages. So again, you can just do full customization. The other feature that I really love about this is, especially if you work in a fit process and you're doing multiple fit rounds, I love that you can indicate and only send, like if you've already done a first fit eval and your second, you know, you're sending like a second or third comment, I would only include, you know, new information as not to confuse the manufacturer. So just a great way to kind of control the information you're sending. Then you just push save and send when it's ready to go. This saves a version. So you can see I've demoed this particular tech pack quite a few times. This is how many versions I have. But this is actually great for record keeping. If you're like, oh crap, like the client was not into these changes, like how do I go back? You can actually just revert back to one of your, you know, your previous versions. So that's a wonderful feature. And then from here, you have 2 options to actually get this to your manufacturer, your client. So the first way is you can send it directly through our system. So anybody that receives our tech packs, all they have to do is create a free login to be able to view the link. So none of your manufacturers or clients need to actually make a purchase, which is wonderful. You can attach up to 5 people, and then it actually kind of pre-populates an email for you, indicates style number, version, and then gives them a link. If any of your manufacturers are China-based, we do have a feature where you can actually add the PDF itself, because depending on the region in China with firewall protection, they may not have access to the link. So you can just add that PDF and then you email and it goes directly to them. This is how you send 1 by 1. We also have a feature that gives batch sending capabilities. So you can send, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 tech packs at a time, as long as you save the version. The second way you can send it, if you don't want to do it through the system, if you have a different way of working with a manufacturer through, you know, like releasing PDFs through Slack or whatever, you can actually download as a PDF. You can download as Excel. You can also translate. So we have a couple different languages that you can actually translate the tech pack to. So lots of great features here. So that's how you would send it to a manufacturer. Okay, in light of time, anybody have more questions?
Jacqueline asked in the chat, is the costing a part of the first tier subscription?
No.
Your costing section.
No. So I'm going to actually go into that next. So if you guys want to learn more about the differences for features, you can literally Google Teckpacker pricing, and you can, and it's on the website. You can just click on pricing. So Teckpacker Builder, which is kind of like our intro package, this only includes those 3 sections. So it's the sketches, the bill of materials, and the measurements. So you can still, build tech packs fairly quickly. You can copy lots of tools, but it's really just those 3 main sections. The PLM Professional is definitely our most popular. So all of the features that I showed today are included in this one. It's a little more pricey. So it's only a annual membership. So it's $1,140 a year, paid annually. So that also, we add an optional onboarding feature. So with Professional and Premium, we have an onboarding feature, which is 2 hours with an onboarding professional. So essentially, and we never do it all together. It's usually 2, sometimes we break it down into 3 sessions, just to kind of give people an opportunity to learn and then implement, ask questions, come back, learn, implement, ask questions. Just to ensure that, a new client is putting in their default settings properly and building their workflow properly. So the onboarding fee there, it's a one-time onboarding fee. It's $500. So it would be membership plus $500. The one thing that I actually spoke to the Teckpacker team, and I knew I would have an amazing group of people today. So if anybody is very seriously interested in Teckpacker as a software for themselves and for your businesses, number one, if you have more questions, you can reach out to me directly. You can always schedule another demo. So I would be happy to do a one-on-one demo with you if you have more questions. And then if you feel like this might be a good fit for you, I do actually have a promo code. It's literally just my name and the letter 10 behind it. So Amanda 10, which would get you 10% off any of these memberships if you decided to purchase over the next few weeks. So, you can reach out to me directly if you want any more information on that, or if you just have more questions. But I'm excited to be able to, add a little discount. I know, as a small business owner, it's an investment. So, anything that we can, help out with to kind of get you guys started. And like I said, this customer service team is amazing. They're just so helpful. So let me know how I can help any more on the Teckpacker front.
I'll send a recap out after this, you guys, to everyone who signed up to come to this, and I'll share Amanda's email. I'll share the Teckpacker website and her promo code reminder. And then there was something else I just forgot that I was going to ask. Oh, there was a question in the chat. Is there a way to send a TP to a client that is editable so they can update as they go through development?
The only way to do that is if they are a member. So if they want to be a paid member, they can be added to your membership and they will be part of your team and be able to go in. I will say you can actually, so if you have clients that, want to invest, oh dear God. Sorry, I have a lot of things open. Hold on a second. I'm going to try and get my Teckpacker back up because I feel like it's just better to have a visual of what I'm talking about. So if you have clients that are interested in actually, being a paid member or sharing a membership with you, or I even have clients, I give them the choice. So I present Teckpacker to them, and just depending on if it's a client that can afford to purchase the system, I say, hey, I can either utilize this system as part of my services and just do a little extra fee, or if you want to purchase the membership yourself and then add me as a member on your team, because then that gives them ownership of the tech packs and you're just controlling all of the product development and doing all of the work. So I tend to give a choice to my clients, and depending on where they're at, most of them choose for me to kind of house the tech packs. But in that case, just make sure that in your contracts, you have a lot of clarity around deliverables, because if you're housing things in a software, I only provide tech packs as a deliverable in a PDF form, because that's the only way I can share it to them. And that is not editable, So just know that kind of going in, if they want to be able to, have somebody else jump into the tech pack and work on it, it might be better for them to have that. The one thing that I wanted to show you is there is the ability to decide, who you add to your folders. So if you do have clients that want to have access, you can have them added as a member if they want to pay to be a member, and then you can limit their access to only their folder. So if you have other information that you don't want them to see, you just limit their access and only add them to the folders that pertain to that client. So just wanted to kind of add that feature.
I have a
I have one
question.
quick question.
Oh, Marco, you go first.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I feel like this might be a dumb question, but I was thinking about it, so I'm asking anyways.
Go for it.
Going back to like the materials in Teckpacker, I'm thinking about like the size tag that you would put on a garment. Would you be creating a different file for each individual size of the same size tag, or would that all be within one? If that makes sense.
So it just depends on how your workflow works for that. So for example, I can only speak from my personal experience. So what I typically do if I'm designing actual hang tags for clients, I design one hang tag and then I leave room for a UPC barcode sticker. So that has the objective information. And then typically that hang tag can be used for all of their product. And the only thing they need to change is they just add the sticker to the back of the hang tag, which has objective information, which would be, description of product, color, perhaps size, and then UPC and barcode. So that's how I work with my clients. And typically I get barcodes and descriptions from the client. And if the client has Shopify, it'll actually kick those out and we'll send it to you in a PDF. And then I share that with the manufacturer. They create the stickers, they put it onto the hang tags. So depending on if the company you're working with is newer to the business or they already kind of have a current workflow, I would say it just depends on your client. But if I'm the one creating that, I try and do things that, they can go and order a ton of hang tags and then the only objective thing is a sticker. And like, if somebody, fucked up the sticker, then you can just print a new sticker and put it on top. So I would say I don't like doing specific artwork on hang tags for that purpose only. And especially if you change anything, like if you have to change the barcode last minute and they've already printed the hang tags, then you have to go back and print all the hang tags again. So that would be my advice. I hope that's helpful.
Very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We're like already at our time and we haven't even done like the other 20 questions. How do you want to prioritize, Courtney? I mean, I told you I'm fine to go over. Obviously, anybody that has like a hard stop, feel free to drop off at any point. And you can reach out to me directly if you have additional questions or reach out to Courtney. I feel like these lunch and learns, it's like we're all here to help each other. So do you want to just keep going with questions?
Yeah, I'm good with that. If you guys are in the chat or want to raise your hand, if you're more interested in hearing more about Teckpacker or if you want to hear more about Amanda's consulting, and give that feedback quick. Martin, we can't hear you. Oh no, he left. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he said I have to go. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Um, okay. Well, my question really quick was just, in the pricing sections, like if you sign up and you want to share it, like say with your team, does each person then pay for a different level of membership, or like how does that work?
So if you want to share access with team members, or you want to share a tech pack with team members?
So like let's say I decide I'm going to start using Teckpacker and I buy like the medium range tier 2.
Yep.
But then I decide I'm going to work with like a tech designer and I don't know, maybe somebody in marketing, and I want to give them full access to like edit or add or whatever. So like how does that work?
So the pricing is based on per user. So if you get professional, that is per one user. And if you want to add additional people to your membership, you would add additional users. So that $1,140 a year, that's for one membership. And so if you want additional, you purchase additional memberships. And it has to be in the same membership tier because you're all seeing the same information. And because it's cloud-based, like there's only kind of one truth, if that makes sense. Awesome.
Is there any opportunity to like share the onboarding cost? So like, I know obviously a lot of us are like newer, very small businesses, sometimes like sole proprietors.
Yep.
If we wanted to like have a group similar to like, not a lunch and learn, but like, say 5 of us wanted to get together, would we be able to split the onboarding cost, or is it really just pretty strict?
It's a fascinating question, Courtney. I would say, of course, I would have to get approval from my team, but I actually think it's an amazing idea. So for example, and actually a light bulb went off in my head because I gave you the pricing for the professional. If you do the essentials package, there's a 30-minute onboarding for $100. So each of those, the experience and the investment really evolves. So for that essentials, which is, probably the more opening price point investment, 30 minutes, $100 for that onboarding. Professional is 2 hours, 500. And then premium, which I'm doubting I don't even have premium. That's more for like teams of 20. That's like a 6-hour experience. But I will tell you, the one thing is when I have teams that I'm onboarding, it's still the same flat fee. And we encourage everybody on the team to come and to learn. So, for example, if 5 of you signed up for professional, I'm sure there would be a way that I could, speak to the team and see if they would be open to you guys sharing the cost of the onboarding, because, it's only 1 hour of my time, right? Or 2 hours of my time. So I think it's a great suggestion. I would just need to get approval, but more than willing to go back to the team and see how they felt about that. I think it's a great idea.
Awesome. Anybody who's still here, feel free to chime in if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the questions that came in advance. So there was a question about how do you think Teckpacker compares to other PLM systems like Backbone or B Product?
So I would say, I feel like a broken record. I think it's just the intuitiveness. It's very user-friendly. I didn't even get a formal onboarding. I think just because I was so well-versed in a PLM system, I just was like a kid in a candy store, trying to discover all the little nooks and crannies of the system. And it was so satisfying to set up all my default settings and all my columns. I will say definitely price is one of those. Personally, I think Teckpacker is probably one of the most affordable. We actually have quite a few clients that come from Backbone to Teckpacker, only because, it's not that they're looking for, less of an experience. It's just more user-friendly. It's more customizable. and it's just more intuitive. So it's just a little cleaner and cut and dry. And I believe at the moment we are a little less expensive than Backbone. And they've had a lot of changes. I can't really speak for Backbone itself, only because I've never been in the actual software. Like, I've seen it, and I only know what I have heard as far as feedback from my current clients that have converted from Backbone to Teckpacker. But I do know, every system is different. So, shop around, like, make sure that if you want to invest in a Teckpacker or a PLM system, see how many demos you can get, like, ask for as much as possible to just really be able to try it out and make sure that it fits you and your business and your clients. Because, Teckpacker is not a great fit for everybody, and neither is Backbone, and neither, so I think it's a very, personal and kind of business driven decision. But my job is to essentially share as much as I can about the software to allow people to then experience it and understand if it's a good fit. The other benefit, if you wanted to go through a more formal demo with me, at the end of a demo. So once you get into our system, like, you say, I want to book a demo, you schedule on my calendar. Once we do a demo, I can actually offer you a 7-day free trial. So that's pretty much like 7 days that you have access to all 3 memberships, and you can go in and you can build tech packs. You can send them to a manufacturer. You can save the PDF. Like, you can do all the features to try out and see, hey, do I really need professional, or could I start with the essentials package until maybe I'm ready to upgrade in 6 months to a year, depending on my revenue. So a lot of options, and, I wouldn't ever buy anything without trying it. Like, you shouldn't really buy anything off the rack. You should go try it on. So that's something that I can offer as well. If you do feel like it might be a good fit, like, just keep investigating, and I'm happy to, like I said, do another demo or answer more questions, and then ultimately be able to share a free trial.
Awesome. Well, so we're about 10 minutes over. I'd say I'll give us another 5 just to make sure that we're not taking too much of your time. I'm so sorry to anyone that was really looking forward to more of the consulting conversation. I'll run back with Amanda and see if maybe we do a second one of these where she can talk more about her consulting agency. But in the last 5 or so minutes, does anybody want to chat about anything?
Feel like you've answered everything. I'm trying to come up with something, honestly.
Oh, no worries. That means I've been thorough. Done.
While we're just leaving the mic open, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. This was a great turnout, and I really, really appreciate everyone's time and showing up.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. If you haven't already, connect with me on LinkedIn. I put out a ton of content. I just started a blog 2 months ago. I support both freelancers, students that are going into this industry, and startups and founders. So, join me on the journey. So exciting to meet all of you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
Thanks, Courtney, too, for setting everything up.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
I'm going to keep doing this. I'm enjoying it. So keep an eye out for more.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Courtney. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You too.